up?
Hello, y'all.
Hi.
Welcome, Avery.
Welcome, Avery.
Welcome. Good to have you in the Grove.
Happy to be here.
Good to be back in the Grove, right, Jax?
Oh yeah, back we are. Back again. Yeah, here we are.
Here we are. Avery, another fun work friend.
Yep.
Slinging groceries with us by day and night.
Mostly night.
Yeah,
Mostly
night.
Mostly night. All right, so Avery, you're wrapping up freshman year of college, right?
Yes, sir.
How was that going?
Good. Kicking ass, per usual.
That's what I like to hear.
Try.
Queen moves.
Nice. Any like particular thoughts about the year? I mean, it's not over. There's still like
Yeah.
what, a few weeks, a month or so.
Got 5 class days left. Something like that.
That is-
Actually,
I think so.
me
Maybe
too.
2 weeks. I don't know. Your classes might be different. Almost there. So close.
Nice.
So, don't recommend college though. I think it's a scam.
Really?
Yeah.
We're already like he's already done. We're already like
Jackson,
in,
yeah,
like,
Jackson's stepping through the threshold of
Yeah.
graduation soon. I've got a couple degrees that are like, maybe,
maybe not.
maybe. No, I mean, I have them, but it's like,
Yeah.
how useful is a creative writing degree? I'm happy I have them. But I do like that you're an opinionated person and you are happy to share and have those conversations. So I'm curious, you say college is a scam.
I don't think it's actually a scam. I just think it's a lot of work to get a piece of paper with. I may or may not have a job at the end of this.
Hmm.
I'm going to school for this, may or may not be in the workforce after college.
Okay,
I don't like that undefined.
sure. Yeah.
the futures are all undefined, so
That is a good point.
you're just trying to get that future to be more clear and better. So,
Good point.
what's your major again?
I'm a major in psychology with a
Nice.
minor in art.
Ooh,
Okay.
and art now, huh?
Double.
Fully declared and everything.
Nice.
Yeah.
So no sociology or
No, determined it was not my jam.
okay.
That's good.
Yeah.
That you determined that, like, senior year, like, ooh, I don't know if I like this. Because there's been a few people that have done that.
Right, yeah, you have 11 of your 13 credits, and it's like, oh, maybe not. It's like, well,
Yeah.
you're almost there.
Yeah.
So I haven't heard about art before with you. Is there like, is it studio art or is it art history or?
Studio art, I think.
Nice.
The goal is to go and do art therapy, and so I feel like having the background in studio art would help me be able to find a job outside of college.
Nice. Okay.
That'd be tight.
So psychology, art therapy. You feel pretty confident that that's your calling and that's your path.
Most definitely.
Nice. Cool.
And that's why I'm concerned with the not having a job, because it is such a niche area of psychology, which is very broad, but then art therapy, which is very small right now,
Mhm.
but in 10 years it might be a big deal.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like they might have been saying that 10 years ago.
That is also true, and you're further proving my point
About what?
about maybe college is a scam.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was the same 10 years later.
Oh, if things have, well, it's not that, I don't think necessarily that it would be the same, but, 10 years ago and 20 years ago, 30 years ago, I imagine there was some sort of art therapy. I'm
Yeah.
not sure, but, it's,
What
When it
is art
grows.
therapy?
Art therapy is like using different modes of art to express your emotions and be able to self-evaluate, I guess. And so like it's really useful in children, or really effective in children.
To have them paint?
Yeah, to have them be able to paint and then express their emotions through a mode of art rather than just verbally communicate, which could be hard for children.
Then where was Van Gogh's breakdown when he cut off his ear?
I don't know. I'm not a Van Gogh nerd, so.
Jackson with the jokes out here.
Growing up, that was like my craziest. Like I'd always ask Mom about it, be like, who was the guy that cut off his ear?
Van Gogh was your Roman
I
Empire.
was just
I
gonna
guess.
say that.
It's like Mom, like what happened to Van Gogh?
Yeah, it's like, where did he fall off the rails?
Goofy.
And apparently, he didn't even, no, it was the other dude, who's Picasso. He's not, he like died recently. like within the last 100 years he was alive.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was from like the 1400s or
No,
something.
no. Picasso, I think, was like early 1900s, early 20th century.
I think he died in the 70s, maybe
Yeah,
late 60s.
76, I think.
Yeah.
Right. When you said recently, I was like, I don't know about that. But
I mean,
70s,
yeah.
you know, somewhat recent for art history.
Yeah. Versus like the dude that painted the Mona Lisa, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Several
was,
hundred
like,
years ago.
Yeah.
All right, Avery. I'm curious about art and your like journey with art. Is there a particular art medium that you gravitate to or like the most?
I like ceramics the most, but that's
Nice.
because I've just been in it more.
Hmm.
I haven't really been able to experience like other forms of art. Like I've been able to look at them, but not get in that hands-on activity in the way that I have ceramics. But I feel like I have a calling towards ceramics more than anywhere else.
Nice. Okay. So like pottery or
Yeah, like pottery.
okay.
Like the throwing on the wheel and the firing and the glazing, and that just really speaks to me.
Throw it on the wheel and firing in the kiln, right?
And then glaze that joint up.
Glaze that joint up, Jackson says. He
Yep.
said glaze, not blaze.
Glaze.
Glaze.
I mean, both work in that situation.
They
Right?
could. They could both work.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. All right, Avery. So I know that you are originally from Oregon, correct?
Mhm.
Nice.
No
Yeah.
way. What part?
I grew up outside of Portland, like
That's
Oswego.
tight.
Oswego?
Oswego, yeah.
Okay. That's like a suburb, or is it farther out maybe?
It's, I don't know, it's farther out. It's not necessarily a suburb. It's like its own little town, but I could see the city of Portland from my living room window, just
Oh,
No.
okay.
in the distance. We were like farther on the hill.
Okay.
How close were you to Beaverton?
I don't know mileage. It was like a 35-minute drive to the Nike store.
No.
To the
employee store? Yeah.
Ooh,
That's fascinating.
that is tight.
I have very solid core memories of standing outside of the employee store for hours
You
waiting.
got to go in?
Yeah, I
You
had.
been in it?
My mom's friend worked there for a really long time,
Oh,
so
no.
we got like new releases and stuff.
What?
I had this sick pair of KDs. And they were like pink and black, and they were the coolest shoes ever. But looking back on them now, they probably weren't as cool as I thought they were.
KDs
Hindsight.
are cool. They just re-released some Galaxy ones. Go check them out, guys.
Wow. Jackson, always pushing the shoes. And Avery
Oh, yeah.
is, I mean, I know you have some good sneakers and you like to flash the sneaker game at work sometimes, but
Sometimes.
I didn't realize that you were as much an ally in the sneaker game as you are.
Not as much as Jackson, but I dabble.
Yeah, not many people are as enthusiastic about sneakers as Jackson is.
Right.
Okay, so it's funny that you were asking about Beaverton because I had no clue, but you knew exactly, like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
Nike and,
Yeah.
you know.
Oh, I figured you asked about Beaverton because of
Oh,
Nike.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know anything else.
Yeah.
I know that the Ducks are in Oregon. I know that they have a lot of good fishing for trout.
Mhm.
Yes.
All right, but I'm curious about that detail you mentioned. You could see downtown Portland from your living room window or a house window.
Yeah.
So I feel like that might be an indication of like the suburbs, because I grew up in Pearland, Texas, outside of Houston, and like most of the time you can't just like see downtown, but from the top of the stadium stair bleachers of our high school football stadium, you could see downtown Houston. You know, like
Really?
20 miles away. And, you know, it wasn't like, again, up close. It's farther away, but you can make out like the skyscrapers. Be like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's Houston. And, you know, we're definitely a suburb. But I know Houston's like a big city, like spatially, geographically. So I wonder if like the distance from, you know, where I grew up to Houston might be similar to where you grew up
Definitely.
to Portland. But it's like there's maybe not as much in between there. Was it like wooded and forested? Like,
Yeah.
okay.
A lot of it, they kept a lot of the natural landscape when building, which I think is really unique because a lot of places don't do that
Yeah.
still. But like from my living room window, you could see the skyscrapers similar to what you're describing. It wasn't like, oh, you could see like the town of Portland, but you could see like the figures, I guess, the outlines.
Nice. All right. So when did you move? Did you move from Portland or from Oregon to
Yeah.
North Carolina?
We moved here 2017, so
Oh, that's recent.
do the math, I guess.
7 years ago.
Yeah.
7 years ago. Okay. How's living at the beach compared to the forest?
I like it
Okay.
a lot. I miss being able to hike, like actually hike and not just go through walks.
Yeah, right.
Go for walks.
Yeah.
But I love living at the beach. The weather's nice too. It's not 6 months of cloud and rain. It's 12 months of sunshine.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny how like we're kind of in the thick of spring now and it's just like so perfect.
Yeah.
And like today's like a little toasty. It's like, oh yeah, it's gonna be a warm summer, but it's still like today is perfect.
Yeah.
All right, Avery. One thing I definitely know about you is that you love your rock and roll. You love your rock and roll. So like a question I've been thinking as we've been gearing up for this episode is like, what are we gonna talk to you about other than rock and roll? Because again, it's like we know we're going to talk about some rock and roll, and I think we've had a nice landing of like not rock and roll, but maybe it's time for us to
start rocking and rolling.
Get the amps out and start rocking and rolling. So
do that again. Do the air guitar again. See, that's how you do it. That's how you play it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The air guitar.
The air guitar.
Okay.
Well,
Can you shred?
Oh yeah. Some Guitar Hero. Oh yeah.
Jackson, you a Guitar Hero?
Actually, I've been on the Fortnite Festival kick lately with Jack at work. We've been doing some Fortnite Festival.
Is that related to Guitar Hero?
Yeah, so
okay.
it's like their version of Guitar Hero. So you like hit the little keys.
Okay.
For me, it's JK and DNF.
I see. Okay.
And you hit them keys. It's hard. It's like coming down. You're just like.
But it's not like a guitar.
No, a little character plays it, but I just hit the keys.
You're crazy, man.
You had to be there. You had to be there.
You had to be there. All right, Avery, I'm curious, is there a particular moment of your life where it was like, I love rock and roll? And it was like you felt awakened by a certain song or a certain artist or a concert or anything?
Not one that I can recall.
Okay.
It's always been a major part of my life just because my parents were really into music and my parents' parents were really into music, and so like there's always just been this part of me that's been really into it. But I got really interested in Nirvana, and that kind of sparked like
From Batman.
From Batman, yeah.
Nice.
And that kind of
Me
sparked
too.
my interest.
Okay, Nirvana as the access
Yeah,
point.
yeah, definitely.
Okay, so like a particular song with Nirvana, or like, I don't know, were you really into Nevermind when you were younger, or?
I've been really into all of it, but Been a Sun really resonated with me, and it's on an album that I don't hear many people talking about too.
What is that album?
Incesticide.
What's the
Not
Little
familiar.
Naked Kid album?
Never mind.
Oh, everyone talks about that album.
Yeah, it's a super famous and pivotal album,
Yeah.
just in, I think, music history, but more
Yeah.
specifically grunge.
Oh, that's what you're talking about when you said Nevermind.
Yes,
Yes.
correct. And yeah, I guess going back, this might be the merging of the streams of Pacific Northwest grunge. Were your parents involved in the Pacific Northwest Seattle grunge scene, or?
Kind of, sort of. My mom grew up, and I spent a lot of time a lot further south of Seattle, and she was kind of young when they came on the scene, so she didn't experience it as much as I think most people did. But like I got into Nirvana at this point where I was really homesick, and I felt like listening to a band from an area where I grew up would make me feel better, and it did.
Nice.
And it trailed on to this.
They're from out there.
Yeah, my mom grew up
Yeah,
way
Nirvana
south.
is.
Yeah, well, way south, but
Really?
yeah.
Yeah.
Same state.
Nirvana is Seattle grunge band.
Really?
Yeah.
Where was Kurt born?
Aberdeen, Washington,
Nice.
which is a little bit off the coast, a little bit further inland.
But not off the grid.
Not off the grid,
Not off
just
the
off the
grid.
coast. Glad we got the expert, because I didn't know Aberdeen. I was like, Seattle? I don't know.
It's a cute little town.
Aberdeen.
Nice. Have
but-
you visited?
Yeah, I've been there.
Really nice.
But then what? We have Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, and Soundgarden are like the big four
Yeah.
kind of Seattle grunge bands. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
What about Nine Inch Nails?
I
Are they
don't, I
good?
don't listen to Nine Inch Nails
Really?
too much. I know the one song that everybody knows,
What?
Closer.
Closer.
Do
But
know
I
that
don't-
one?
I feel like if you heard it, you would recognize it. But I don't know much about them as a band. I don't know.
What
where
about
they're
the band that Dave Grohl is in? The
from. Foo
drummer?
Fighters?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
they're
like
really
them?
good.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, it's funny. You kind of like jumped into an idea that I had, Jackson, of like quick fire. Like, what about this band? What about that band? Like,
Yeah, she knows them.
Should we do a little round of that? Someone mentioned the band. We all give our take.
I'm pretty sure I've already given my 2 cents. That's the extent
That's
of my
it, dude.
knowledge.
Foo
I
Fighters,
can
dude.
contribute the Beatles too.
Beatles. I feel like Avery has a spicy take on the Beatles.
I have a hot take on the Beatles.
Oh,
What's that hot take?
They're not my favorite. I don't really like their music. It kind of scares me.
scared.
But I have an appreciation for how popular they grew in such a short amount of time and how many audiences they reached.
Before the internet.
Before the internet too, and before, the media was so big and
Yeah.
like the newspapers and everything. It's incredible that they got as famous as they did for the lack of technology that was available.
And for how short, it was like
Yeah.
a small run.
Yeah, and then they broke up and everybody did their own thing and got
Yeah.
Or
famous
died.
off that or died.
Well, and sometimes
Ripped off
both.
them.
Why you said their music scares you?
Yeah, how?
A little, I don't know, it just seems a little bit processed, like overly processed in a sense. And like Strawberry Fields Forever just kind of scares me a little bit. I can't place like a reason why, it just does.
Some of John Lennon's vocals are a little chilling to me, and some of
Yeah.
their instrumentation with that can be a little weird. There's an awesome cover of Strawberry Fields by Ben Harper. I definitely recommend you,
Okay.
anyone out there, check out Ben Harper's Strawberry Fields. I was about to say Ben Fields, and I was like, it's not Ben Fields, it's Ben Folds. And I was like, I'm not talking about Ben Folds. What's happening?
That's not Bryce Harper.
It's not Bryce Harper either. What? Ben Bryce? Okay, I see what you did there, Jackson. Ben Folds? Either of you know Ben Folds? Okay, he's an interesting kind of like 90s like alternative pop. Like he's not alternative
Okay.
rock, but he is like kind of rock-ish in the way he's alternative pop. He's a piano guy.
Is he like Post Malone of the 90s?
Ben Folds is the Post Malone of the 90s.
That might be kind of a hot take.
I like your take, Jackson.
Because he's like pop. He's like started out as like rap. Now he's like pop, and like now he's done like country. Like he's all over, but he's done well in every single category he's done.
Post Malone has had a fascinating journey
Yeah.
the past few years. Any Post Malone thoughts, Avery?
I like him.
Post thoughts.
I don't have any kind of hot takes on him. I keep up with like his personal journey and like the weight loss and the kids or his kid and wife and
He has
stuff.
a kid now.
Yeah,
Nice.
and he's got, I think it's a daughter. Maybe I'm wrong. But I don't keep up with his music.
Okay.
Just his personal endeavors.
Yeah.
He was in
Whatever he says.
Roadhouse.
Was he?
Yeah. He's been in a couple movies.
He was in Roadhouse.
Yeah.
Did either of you see Roadhouse?
The new one, yeah.
Okay.
Amazing. 10 out of 10 recommend.
Wow.
Have you seen the original one?
No, so that's
You-
probably why I liked it.
You should see the original one. The original one is so good. Patrick Swayze
Really?
does a bang up job.
Patrick. Have I seen him in other things, you think?
Have you seen Dirty Dancing?
No.
Okay, then you probably wouldn't have seen him in
Oh,
other
okay.
things.
So this is fascinating because I don't really know much about Roadhouse.
Oh,
And,
You
you
should
know,
watch it.
some people might say the two of you are significantly younger than me.
Mhm.
And the fact that you two seem much more well versed on Roadhouse, I'm just kind of like, tell me about Roadhouse. I don't know the plot. Like, is it an action movie? Like, this new one's kind of like a fighter action movie,
Yeah.
right? Is that what the original was?
Yes, kind of.
Okay.
The main characters are really different though, because like
Really?
in the original Roadhouse, Patrick Swayze's kind of this. He's a bodyguard, but he doesn't resort to anger first. He kind of thinks about it and tries to talk about it before he resorts to anger. And in this new movie, Jake Gyllenhaal's character really just fights first.
Mhm.
Okay.
But in a nice way. He like,
Yeah, he's got that wit to him, but
Yeah,
he's
he's-
still throwing hands.
he doesn't want to fight, but he does easily.
Okay.
So he was like a former UFC fighter. And,
Okay.
but this one's also more fighting based because it's got Conor McGregor in it.
Right.
So it's like, and it's funny watching him because like he didn't even need to act.
Yeah.
Like, he literally would do his little walk and stuff. Like, he didn't even need to act the whole movie. He'd be like, alright then, lads, we're gonna fight. Let's throw some knucks here.
Goofy.
Yeah,
That was
it was
great, actually.
Oh, thank
That
you.
was 10 out of 10 impression.
Thank you.
Jackson will be in the third reboot in a couple years, or maybe just a
Yeah.
sequel to the reboot.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So I feel like if we want to revisit some quick fire bands, we could do that later. But what about the most important band, Avery?
What?
Ruckus.
Oh, yeah, Ruckus.
Yeah. Any thoughts we need to share about Ruckus?
They're really good. You should go listen to them. Rukus. They're
R-
great. Rukus.
Are
On
you
Spotify.
RUKUS
Ruckus.
on Spotify? Ruckus. They're playing live if you're in Wilmington. Check out the shows. Avery knows the band well.
Very well. They're my friends.
There we go. What's your favorite song that Ruckus does?
All over it.
All Over It.
Which they don't play often. It's on their newer album, The After Party. And they don't play it live often, which sucks because it's really good live, but it's really good recording too.
Yo, Ruckus, you got to play All Over It.
Yeah.
You hear the lady. So is that an original of
Yeah.
theirs? Okay. And
Yeah.
you said that's on their last album? Came out in September? Or is there a more recent album?
I know, I think that one came out in September.
Okay.
I can't remember if it was this September or last September though.
It's been a long freshman year, hasn't
It's
it?
been a long year.
And we've kind of buried the lead a little bit. Avery is dating the bassist, right, Ethan? Yeah. Shout out to the bass players out there. Ethan keeping the engine going.
Oh yeah.
The rhythmic engine of Ruckus is rolling right along with the bass and the drums. So shout out to those guys, unsung heroes.
Seriously.
Not too often getting a sweet bass solo or drum solo, but you need some bass and drums for some good rock and roll.
Hold the band together, you know? It's like glue.
Yeah. So I was just perusing YouTube recently, and some gatekeeper of rock and roll was saying, like there's a difference between a rock band and a rock and roll band. Either of you have any thoughts on the distinctions, the finer distinctions of those?
Well, I mean, there's rock and then there's rock and roll, I guess, but I
Oh.
don't really know how to explain it.
Okay.
I mean, the gatekeeper would probably explain it better.
So the gatekeeper said, I think for him the distinction of like a rock band and a rock and roll band was like the rock and roll is like a little bit dancier and just like groovier, and the rock band is like do.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Like a little bit more robotic perhaps. I don't know.
So it's less for the people. Rock and roll is more for the people, like as a concert.
I wonder. I don't know. I guess it depends on the people, right?
Yeah, but it's more like solo. It's more like I feel like rock would be more like you're just like listening in your headphones. Rock and roll would be like, let's get a group together and just like
Let's have a good time at the
Yeah.
dance hall.
Yeah, exactly.
There's probably more community involved in it.
Because like rock, I feel like put on your headphones, you're in a phase, kind of like what you do with Nirvana. It was like
Yeah.
you wanted to feel like home and stuff, so you put in your headphones and you just like study, do your thing, whatever it is. And then rock and roll is like, let's get our friends together, let's go do our thing.
Right. Yeah, fascinating. You've given me much to think about. I just kind of want to like ponder these ideas and like not necessarily like run a talk show here and just like so. But it's fascinating how yeah.
What do you think?
About rockin' versus rock and roll.
I guess so. Are you rocking with it?
Yeah. Like as a kid, as a teenager, when I was in my like angry young man, angry boy phase, it was definitely like rock. So.
Let's see.
Avery, I feel like I understand you in a certain way of you like. Do you like the loud angry music? I feel like you like the loud angry music. Yeah.
I do love loud angry music.
Yeah, and I think you had a pretty famous call out of me one time of like saying I don't like that. You're like, yeah, you like soft music, like get out of here. But when I was younger, 12, 13, 14, and like first coming into just puberty and like being a young man and changing in those ways and hormones going crazy, and I was angry a lot. yeah, I liked Nirvana and Nickelback and like these like loud, you know, like crunchier guitar, kind of angrier bands and songs. And you know, I definitely still have a place in my heart for those songs and moments. But I've also tried to like really diversify and, you know, have some rock and roll, a little bit of roll with that rock, you know.
Yeah.
Nice.
But it is fun to see some of these younger bands kind of like break through. Like maybe they're not even on the radio, maybe they just have the one song on the radio. But they have, I feel like, that energy of like the 60s and the 70s when it was kind of this frontier of rock and roll.
Yeah.
So it is fun to think about rock history and just musical history. And yeah, I also think of you being like, maybe you, if you wanted to do some kind of like rock history, you know, like show or, you know, kind of studies or whatever, like that can be something really cool for you. But at the same time, if you feel called to like help people with like therapy and stuff, it's like, what should be a passion?
Yeah.
What should be a purpose?
Rock and roll therapy.
Rock and roll therapy.
Well, it's music therapy, which is also qualified as an art therapy too.
Oh, there you go.
Because music is an art, and so there's like different sectors of art therapy, and music qualifies as one. So
Nice.
you're onto something there.
You're onto something, Jackson.
Thank you.
I don't know why, but I'm imagining this kind of like cinnamon roll right now, where it was just like, yeah, it all loops in with each other. And we have this beautiful cinnamon roll of like rock, music,
totally.
art, therapy. It's all rolled up together.
You're making me hungry. I haven't eaten
Oh no.
since 1 a.m.
What?
Oh.
Jackson, you on that long fast right now?
Not intentionally. I've been at school all day, so I won't get home till like 9. Then I can maybe eat like,
Campus food is expensive, so like.
and I have like 50 cents.
Oh, wow.
It's-
Jackson's on that unintentional intermittent fasting.
yeah. Circumstances arised.
Yeah.
So here we are, just
Yeah, that is to me like the adult like accidental fasting, where it's like, oh, I had one cereal bar for breakfast and I haven't eaten in 12 hours now. Okay, I guess so.
Find something to eat, I guess.
Yeah.
Let me go scrounge around.
Yeah. Okay, so since we were kind of just again tying in all these different ideas of like passion, music, art, therapy, etc., I think, Avery, it's time for us to dive into the deep end of the pool. Are you ready
Sure.
to ponder and postulate what, Avery, is the meaning of life?
That's such a bold question, though.
Whoa, have you not made this far in the podcast before?
No.
We ask almost everybody. We might not have asked Aiden when we started, but I think we've asked pretty much every guest.
No, we did, I think, because he was married.
Oh.
Whoa.
Anyways.
Okay.
Aiden was married, in case you forgot.
I don't know. I
Okay.
haven't thought about it too much.
We'll let that idea simmer.
Mm-hmm.
Since we mentioned Aiden, I want to just say, hey, real quick, Aiden, and
Did
also,
you work with Aiden?
Very, very briefly. Very
Yes.
briefly. I did not know who you were talking about for a second.
for a moment,
moment.
But it's funny because, like, in a way, I associate you and Aiden because you're both some young go-hards showing a lot of potential and a lot of, like, you know, moxie and gumption and I would moxie, dude. One thing I know about Avery, she's got moxie, that's for sure.
Queen status.
There we go. But yeah, I don't know. It just seems like you and Aiden, to me, were both in a certain way like wise beyond your years. And I think both of you, maybe I heard this from him because I assumed he smoked weed, just with the way he is. But then he's like, nah, dude,
Yeah.
like I don't want to, and like you know, I'm too young, and my brain hasn't finished developing. And then I think you said something similar.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Right.
I hold true with that actually.
Right, yeah. I mean, studying psychology, you gotta know the brain and how it functions, how it develops. So, again, like, I just associate you and Aiden in certain ways. You know, again, the youth, but also the wisdom. And also, I wore this shirt with Aiden, and I went back and checked today. Yeah, I wore this shirt for Aiden's episode, but I also wore it for Walter's episode.
What?
So this is the third appearance that it's made, but I felt like we should have a little, you know,
Shout out to the shirt, I
Yeah.
guess.
shout out to the
Yeah.
shirt,
It's
vacation.
kind of like Jake Gyllenhaal's shirt in Roadhouse.
Wow.
It's a Hawaiian one, so it's like
With motorcycles?
I mean, there are motorcycles in the.
It is very Roadhouse themed.
Yeah.
though.
Okay.
Like, totally get
Fascinating.
Dang.
Maybe we're about to reboot Roadhouse together.
Griddy Bros do the reboot. Yeah.
It's the Grid House.
Here
The
for it.
Grid House.
The Grid House, dude.
Ooh. I like that.
All right.
Paramount Pictures, feel free to sponsor us.
Hit us up. You know where to find us. We're at Gritty Fish on YouTube.
So far, no one's hit us up, so it's.
Yo, there are randos hitting up our comments every now and again.
But not like Apple. I think we wanted to get hit up. Nike, I think. Kanye, he hasn't hit us up yet.
Better late than never, I guess.
Travis Scott, where are you?
Yeah, like, dude, I'm your biggest fan. Like,
Okay, what?
you were talking about.
No, I think you need to talk about some marshmallows.
Oh
dude.
yeah, so since you haven't seen her, how do you like your marshmallows cooked?
Golden brown.
Let's describe that. Let's break this down.
Okay, so golden and crispy on the outside, but really soft and gooey on the inside, so that when you squish the graham cracker over the marshmallow, it like
So you don't like it charred?
no.
Oh.
Sorry.
That seems to be the consensus, unfortunately.
I've
golden
heard that a lot. Oh, golden brown being the
Yeah,
consensus,
everyone
not
likes-
charred.
So far, most guests have. I think, was it Abel that likes? No, he doesn't like it black. Who did we have?
Caden liked it charred, I believe.
Yes, we had like
And maybe Emma?
I think.
I think Emma said charred, pull off the char and eat it, and then you re-roast it
Yeah,
as like a
so-
gross sticky.
There's a whole like
Yeah.
Well, yes, because she did her marshmallow comparison to her meaning of life. I forgot how she did it, but like it was like, whoa! I was just wanting to know
That's
how you like
so-
your marshmallow cooked.
Right.
But she's like a psychology major, so she like looped it all in. It was like, yeah, so sometimes you take away the bad stuff from the outside to look at the soft gooiness of the inside of someone. I was like,
I'm gonna
talking
live
about
by that
marshmallows
actually.
or
I'm gonna
people?
adopt that, and that's gonna be my lifestyle. Is
There you
the
go.
charred marshmallow.
Embrace the char, people. Embrace the char.
I'm so excited for someone to go back and check the footage because like I remember it differently of like Emma gave a great answer about the char and like pulling it away and changing the marshmallow if it needs to, and I felt like you are the one who were like that's amazing for the meaning of life, and then now you've like practically written a dissertation.
Yeah. Oh no, So I get things mixed up a lot, but I'm pretty sure it's that.
No, but I like how you got there
Yeah.
though.
Right.
Like that was really awesome actually.
Yeah, Jackson becoming the premier marshmallow scholar of America.
Write a book, Jackson. Write a book.
Might have. Actually, I'll just give you the prompt. You'll be like my chat GPT. You'll just write it for me.
Wow. Jackson just dehumanized me saying that I am artificial intelligence.
Split it 50-50 profits.
Okay, nice.
Unlike AI, you'll get to make the profits.
Okay. I feel like AIs make a lot of profit, even
Yeah.
though it doesn't necessarily, I don't know, whatever.
Whoever developed it's making some dollars.
Yeah.
I think it's Elon is funding it.
Before I get too depressed about
Oh,
AI and the weird technological future we're stepping into second by second, Avery, any updates on the meaning of life over there?
It's a charred marshmallow, man.
Charred
It's a
marshmallow.
charred marshmallow, man.
Okay, heard. Sometimes you eat it and enjoy it. Sometimes you eat it and you don't really like it very much.
Sometimes it just burns up.
Sometimes it burns up. Sometimes, again, you peel off the char, you enjoy it while you can or for what you can, and then you maybe recook it or you just spread it on the graham cracker. There we go.
dang.
Not bad.
Nice.
Yeah.
Then you melt a little bit of cheese on it.
Wow.
Cheese.
Just kidding, that would be weird. But I'd
Well,
probably like it.
right. And also, are you familiar with the cheddar cheese on apple pie?
No.
Never heard of that?
No, I usually just get the apple pie hot and ready, and then put vanilla ice cream on it.
That's the right way to do
That's
it.
the right way.
That's classic. But apparently in
How do you do
Wisconsin, people do a slice of cheddar
Yeah.
cheese on a hot
Well, it's
slice of
American
pie.
cheddar cheese. It's not just any cheddar
Oh
cheese.
no, it's Wisconsin.
It's got to
cheddar
be.
cheese.
Oh, really?
Oh. Wisconsin's,
Okay.
they like their cheese.
Because I've always ever seen it just like a a slice of American cheese just right on top. Never tried it before.
Like the plastic orange
Yeah.
square. Oh,
That's the
yikes.
best.
Like the 90% plastic, 1% cheese.
But what about the other 9% there?
Yeah, it's real cheddar.
90% plastic, 9% cheddar, 1% cheese. What type of cheese? For you to figure out.
American.
Yeah, right, of course.
1% made in America.
That's the other 1%.
Yeah.
I mean, the plastic could also be made in America, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. I am curious about a little more rapid fire band hot takes over
You
here.
and your bands, I like it.
Well, I mean, we got the rock queen here, so let's talk some rock and roll. Led Zeppelin.
Not too familiar with them.
Okay. I feel like that's like a big iceberg that you can like,
Oh, yeah.
you know, approach and maybe not
Most
conquer, but just, you know, get into.
I have a lot of Led Zeppelin vintage, though, just from, family members.
Mm.
No quarter.
Like vinyl?
Like vinyl.
Okay.
Like original, like, of day and age vinyl.
Oh wow.
I like No Quarter, though. Ethan plays No Quarter a lot.
What is that? That's a song, I assume?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not familiar with this one. I'm gonna have to check it out.
Thanks,
You would
I'm a
like it.
fan.
I mean, I'm not declaring myself the hugest Led Zeppelin fan. I do like a lot of their songs that I know. I also think they have some duds that it's just like, nah, please skip that or change the channel.
I think Led Zeppelin does No Quarter. I know it's a song.
Yeah, we'll figure that one out. I want to go to like some classic rocks, and then we'll make it through, other bands. Pink Floyd.
I like them a lot.
Okay. Nice. Jackson, do you have any thoughts on Led Zeppelin and or Pink Floyd?
I like Pink Floyd's like Triangle Fair. I think that looks pretty.
That is some
Dark
classic.
Side of the Moon.
Yeah, Dark Moon.
Dark
Dark
Side.
Side of the Moon.
Dark
Yeah,
Side.
with the wall.
Well, that's a separate album.
Oh,
Yeah.
different.
But they're both very important Pink Floyd albums. Yeah. Rolling Stones?
Not a big fan. Not a big
Okay.
fan. They have one song that I like, but overall, not my favorite.
Well, you know what they say. You can't always get what you want.
Yeah, that is what they say.
What's the song you like?
Beast of Burden.
Okay. Nice. You don't like You Can't Always Get What You Want? No.
I actually don't think I know that song.
Oh, man. It's classic.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
If I know it, you know it.
I also think they might be sellouts too, just because, like they put all of their they sell all of their logos to merchandise companies, and like they're sold in every store, and like
Oh, yeah.
same with like Nirvana and Metallica and like Pink Floyd. I
Yeah.
think that they're the owners of those companies now are sellouts.
Mm-hmm.
Like the tongue with like, they have ones
Yeah.
with like spikes, American flag one, like all sorts of different
Yeah.
color ones.
Yeah, I think the Rolling Stones as sellouts idea holds because they are also one of the highest priced tickets whenever they toured over the past 10 or 20 years.
Yeah.
They still tour.
They still tour.
Mick Jagger's still alive.
Mick Jagger's
Oh, Mick
He's
Jagger's the
still
dude in
kicking it
that.
too.
he's still running around, strutting his stuff like a rooster. But yeah, I mean, it's good for them. Keep doing what you love and keep making money at it. But at the same time, it's like, do you need more money?
Like, is there a limit here?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
What's up?
I mean, they got diehard fans, so I mean,
Right.
they
Yeah.
enjoy it.
Yeah, no, I mean, but again, it's like, I hope they're doing more than just continuing to play the same old music. And even if they're making new music, it's like, all right, you've been doing this for 50 years. Again,
I
what
just can't believe it's been 50 years. Or not even. It's been less than that, right?
Nah, dude.
Really?
I think they've been around since the 60s. Yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah, they might be approaching 60 years. I'm not sure how close they are to 60 years, but 50 years ago was 74. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure they had they had albums out
Oh,
in the 60s.
definitely, yeah. I just didn't equate that to being
Right.
50 years.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. Like when people say oh, the 1900s, it's like
'Cause when you just said 50 years, I was like, they were around in 1950, and it just did not
time.
Yeah,
Time.
that little thing.
Time is a great song by Pink Floyd.
Yes.
And it's kind of about what we're talking about. It's
Yeah.
I think it's kind of about as you age, time seems to accelerate. And it's you don't realize you've gotten so far away from your childhood. It's
Yeah.
yeah. Apparently, I think the guy of Pink Floyd, I don't know, maybe Roger Waters, I'm not totally sure, but I think he wrote it when he was 28, and he was like, oh my god, like I'm at the peak of my life, like this, like I'm doing now what like the best work I'll ever be doing, basically. And then he wrote that song and wrote a lot of Dark Side of the Moon and
made money hand over fist.
Made money hand over fist, which again was like one of the coolest triangle like artistic,
Prism.
artistic memes like we've known as a American pop culture or like Western pop culture, whatever. They're not an American band, but
They're not.
now they're
from London.
yeah.
Dang, all these the British invasion people.
They're British.
Rolling Stones, the Beatles. I think Led Zeppelin was
Led
from
Zeppelin,
London
yeah,
too.
yeah. All right, so let's talk about some American bands then.
Okay.
So yeah, like I know we already what's that? Aerosmith.
No
Steven
opinion,
Tyler.
really.
No opinion,
No
really.
opinion, yeah.
What do you do? You have any opinions on the song "Dream On"?
I like that song a lot. I think it's super catchy.
Yeah.
And I think it's impressive that he can hit those notes and still hit those notes.
Yeah.
But no like real formulated opinions.
I was way too close to my current age now when I found out that was Steven Tyler singing on "Dream On," and he was just like way young. Because it doesn't sound like what I think Steven Tyler sounds like. I was like, oh, that must be like the backup vocalist who got his moment to have his lead vocal song.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, I think that was one of their first songs they ever cut, or like one of their first singles they
You didn't
released.
think that was Steven Tyler?
I didn't, no.
What?
I feel like when I think of Steven Tyler, that's what I think of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he was in like that Pepsi or M&M commercial doing it.
What the heck are you talking
Oh
about?
no, he's like in a commercial. He's like doing the screaming part.
Right. See, I just think of it and be like, "Wah, wah, wah, wah," like wailing and screaming. And yeah, for me, Aerosmith, like "Dream On," I think is one of the all-time great rock songs. But they also have some music that's like, this is a dud. Like this should not be on the radio. This makes me
turn it on.
Yeah.
This is turn it off. This makes me want to put nails in my ears and just yeah.
That's opinionated. That's saying a lot.
I mean, what are some? I don't want to miss a thing. Like I loved that song when I was a kid, but then like as I've aged, it's like this is so cheesy. This is so like cornball, right? And I don't want to say cringe, but like it is so cheesy that it's like a little bit cringe. Like, I don't want to miss a thing. Even when I dream of you, the sweetest dreams will never do. Like, oh,
What?
that's the song. That's a lyric in the song.
Oh.
Yeah, and it, like again, it is very like sentimental and tender and like loving, but it's also like a pop, like a generated for pop radio.
Yeah.
Like,
Do you think that someone else wrote it though, and they just sang it?
that's possible. Again, I don't want to cast that kind of artistic shade at them, but
Juju Magumbo.
Juju Magumbo, you know what they say.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're kind of progressing through the decades here. Guns N' Roses.
I like Guns N' Roses. Don't like Axl Rose, but I like Guns N' Roses.
Okay, yeah. Axl Rose is an interesting dude. From what I understand, I don't like him very much. But again, this is just me.
What would he do?
I don't know. He just seems to have like a weird attitude and.
He had weird beef with all of Nirvana. Like
Oh, so you don't
so
like that.
so weird.
Right. So that is the thing, because to me, Guns N' Roses, in my mind, Guns N' Roses is the most the most recent band that I'm comfortable with saying is classic rock.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't like. Yes, Nirvana and Foo Fighters and Stone Temple Pilots are on classic rock radio now because it's over 20 years.
Yeah.
It's like 20, 30 years old. But to me, that isn't the measure of classic rock. Classic rock is like a particular sound.
Yeah.
And I think Guns N' Roses is like one of the last bands that was huge in that
Yeah.
classic rock way, and it had that kind of like metal-ish kind of shred. Slash
Yeah.
is playing and they're wailing away and big anthems. So yeah, Guns N' Roses are weird for me because I don't like them very much, but like they do have some really awesome songs.
Like you don't have to like them, but you can appreciate them for what they are.
Yeah. There's a writer in town. He's actually the reason I came to UNCW. John Jeremiah Sullivan. He wrote an essay about Axl Rose that made me appreciate the idea of Axl Rose a lot more. So, maybe that could help you change your mind in some way.
I feel like that really says something that someone had to write an essay to back him up a little bit.
Yeah, and again, it's not
It
like...
really speaks.
Yeah, again, it's like we're also talking about celebrities. Like, we don't know these people, so... all right, y'all. This has been a pretty magical journey. What's up?
I have one more. What about the Grateful Dead?
I don't really have an opinion. I don't listen to their music. Ruckus covers them a lot, and I really like their covers. But other than that, I don't seek out their music, I guess.
Okay.
That's valid.
But another classic rock band
With a cult following.
with a cult
too.
following, also bringing it back to an American classic rock band. So shout out to you, Jackson. Preach. So again, y'all, I think this has been a pretty magical ride. Any final thoughts? Any parting notes
Any
that we?
meaning of lives?
No meaning of life. No meaning.